Hi friends, I'm Meliora. Welcome to my channel. Today we're gonna talk about a very signature, very important brand in my personal olfactory history. Just one remark, please forgive me my bedroom hair. I'm having a bad hair day, and the more I do this, trying to figure out what to do with it, the worse it gets. So we're just collectively gonna ignore whatever is happening there. So Salvador Dali made a huge mark on 20th century, and as far as I know, majority of kind of like college educated kids and the baby boomers, and especially early millennials, which I kind of fall into that category, who didn't at some point have a user picture on Facebook or a print in their dorm which was like a Salvador Dali clock or something like that. If you had ever expressed any interest in the kind of evolution of art, in kind of like eclectic slash mystical slash surrealist movements, impressionism, all of that good stuff, when art really branched from realism, you had to come across Salvador Dali in his works. Due to a unique gift of self-promotion, which was Salvador Dali really famous for, in which what actually made him eventually kind of like an outcast in the surrealist movement, his self-PR capabilities. He was such a good salesman and a marketer. I think that also played a huge role why we know him and maybe not like 50 other names that did similar works or part of the surrealist movement. But the art itself aside, when it comes to perfumes, and that's what we're here for today, the Salvador Dali creations, first of all, were affordable when I was growing up, and they kind of the first ones that came into my attention. They were within my budget range, they were widely available, and they were the first ones that didn't overuse the sex or like romantic allure, youth or money status kind of marketing. The Salvador Dali perfumes very favorably were distinguishing themselves from even those famous and best-selling ones such as Chanel No. 5, Miss Dior, and all the Calvin Klein and all the others, because they never really went there when it comes to like girly girls, a masculine man, and this, you know, all these like cliches of marketing of scents. They, from the beginning to the end, were works of art, and yet they were affordable and everybody could buy one. It's still more or less true, though a lot of them have been discontinued, and to be honest, I'm not quite aware what's happening with the brand right now, because they did came up, and we're going to talk about it, with their own exclusive line, which is like expensive high-end type of fragrances. Nevertheless, they're not really prominent on the scene. I don't see them in the department stores. I don't see them being active with influencers. Like, I don't quite understand what their plans are. So probably this is not the best like kind of blogger decision for me to make a dedicated video to a brand that nobody remembers or cares about, but I'm doing it because I care about it, and it really was kind of like foundational to my interest in perfumes for a long time. So the good news, we're going to talk about their exclusive line, which is fairly expensive, and we're going to talk about their main line. Let's start from the budget-friendly ones. Sun and Scene Cadacus, which was, as far as I remember, like the childhood where Dali grew up, and he dedicated a lot of his artistic endeavors and experiments to Cadacus. See, Sun and Cadacus to me is just like opens and closes the theme of refreshing, summery, ozonic, kind of bergamoty, citrusy perfumes. I got so lucky. I got it really cheap, and I think you still can find it for a very affordable price, that basically it just obliterated any need for me to search for other fresh perfumes. I still have quite a few. It seems like they're just like self-accumulating on my shelves, and I don't use them as much. But this is still, to this day, years and years later, is one of my favorites. It's just so well balanced. It's playful, kind of touch of citrusy and fruity notes that don't go neither lemonade or like liquid sugary. The fruits are here are not shampoo-like, they are not obnoxious. It's cheap, it's light, it's cheerful. And it does have its own, kind of, to me, recognizable profile. For example, there are a lot of eau de cologne like shippers, right, like a refreshing bergamot scents or ozonic scents that all kind of smell the same. But I dare say, I feel like I would recognize Ciensan and Kadakas fairly confidently against a lot of other backdrops, which is, by the way, would be fun to do like a blind testing and see if I actually can do that. I love it. To me, this is like the perfect, by all accounts, refreshing summer perfume. It's purely unisex. It doesn't lean neither austere or harsh nor sugary sweetie or anything. It's just beautifully balanced, cheap, cheerful, delightful summer perfume. I almost want to compare it to I Love Love by Moschino. Not that they are clones of each other, but Moschino DNA is way more synthetic and you either love it or you don't. The Salvador Dali Ciensan and Kadakas is actually well balanced in a way that it never goes synthetic or cheap on me. It doesn't smell cheap, even though it doesn't cost much. I'm looking at my notes here. So what it really has in terms of the notes, it's kind of like the support of the base here is given by woody notes, yet the floral fruity heart is lotus, water lily, freesia, a little bit of apricot. So it's kind of this refreshing, watery, juicy drink that never really crosses the border toward sugary. This is what I really like about it. It was made in 2006. I'm surprised because I feel like I had it for ages. Well, I guess 14 years is ages. By Michel Almayrak, who also made, he made a lot of iconic perfumes. Chloe, Eau de Parfum, Fahrenheit Dior, Original Bottega Veneta, Burberry Woman. He made a lot of firsts for brands. Burberry Woman, Gucci Rush. Yeah, he has quite a list, and he made this one. So you can rest assured that it's made by a master perfumer. The next one is my favorite home scent. I rarely wear Purplelight by Salvador Dali as an actual fragrance on me, but I adore it. I absolutely love it on the sheets, on towels, basically anything home related. I was blown away when I discovered that this delicate, slightly soapy lilac was made by no other than Francis Kurkdjian. Yeah, who knew? I would never expect something like that from Francis Kurkdjian. He is kind of like the king of gourmands. But this is what I would call clean. It does borderline fabric refreshener, I'm not gonna lie, but it's so much better than most room sprays and fabric refresheners and it costs almost nothing. I think I got this full bottle for maybe $17 or something like that. I love it. To me, it's like the smell of spring cleaning. Yeah, this is like out with the old, in with the new. It's the fresh new beginnings. It's taking care of your surrounding. It's taking care of your home. It's very hopeful to me. It's like when you decide, yes, this year things are gonna be different. And that's the smell of that. The next one, I would dare say, is a must-have. If you wanna get acquainted with this line, this one you should hunt down. I think it's fairly available, but it's becoming sort of less available. I have a super old bottle at this point. It's losing the matte mint green coating. This is Laguna Perfume from Salvador Dali. There is a flanker, Laguna Maravilla, I think. That has slightly different scent, so I'm gonna be talking about the classic Laguna. First of all, this is the most niche of all of the perfumes, all of the fragrances. We're gonna talk about it today. It's a very unique, nothing like this on the market yet. To this day, I don't know a single perfume that would be a clone of Laguna. What is it like? So this is the dream of kind of this like cooling down 6 p.m. time of sunny afternoon on the Mediterranean shore. So you get the whiffs of, I almost feel something minty. Like there's like very dry aromatic spiciness that makes me think of dried mint or mint tea. The notes as listed are coconut, Moroccan lemon, pineapple, vanilla, and sandal. I'm not sure the notes are really doing it justice, because maybe, yeah, vanilla probably is creating this very warm, supportive cloud of subtle sweetness. It's very subtle. It's not like come to our South Pacific type of vanillas, right? Like it's not cooking type of vanillin. It's very subtle. It's only playing a supporting role. But there's something about it that is so well blended and so monolithic that I can't even dissect it into notes. And this is a very signature of I kind of feel like the beginning of 2000s and 90s in the perfumery. That's what actually shaped a lot of our, or at least for like early millennials, a lot of our perception of smells and what's sexy, what's juicy, what's amazing is back in the day, the mono-accord perfumes became like the rage. They were super popular. Those were the perfumes that didn't really have much of iridescence. They smelled the same from the beginning to the end. At best, they just kind of slowly dissipated in intensity. And Laguna is that kind of mono-accord, monolithic, potent, vibrant smell. The scent, not surprisingly, actually, this I was surprised that such a master made it, but it didn't surprise me that he made it. This Laguna was made by Mark Buxton. Again, as you can see, a lot of these super cheap perfumes that not many people talk about are created by the masters in perfumery as we know them now. A lot of these people have their own perfume houses, and they were composing like their first masterpieces for Salvador Dali brand. So Mark Buxton is a known kind of like bad boy of perfumers, though to be honest, all of them kind of try to take on that type of typecasting. But it seems like when it comes to actual factory creation, Mark Buxton lives up to the bad boy reputation. His perfumes are shocking, unusual, provocative, often not really wearable, though that's debatable in itself. Any scent can be worn. Anything that exists can be worn as a scent. So I just compliments to the chef. This is the absolute must-have. If you are curious and kind of like the researcher, olfactory scientist in you wants to know about one perfume that made the Salvador Dali brand what it is today, this is the truest to what we know of Salvador Dali. Bright, realistic, unique, memorable, not super realistic either, but interesting. It's very imaginative scent. Some people love it, some people not. I find that it works beautifully in humid heat. So like in the middle of summer. This is the one that survives the humidity of Florida and still kind of carries itself with vibrancy and grace. The next one, hopefully, will be much shorter in description because it's an absolute fail for me personally. This is Sun and Roses. I got myself a tester, but it's basically almost the same. It's not almost, it's the same bottle, just with a different color. After seeing Sun and Kadako's being such a hit for me for years, I thought it was a no-brainer to try something a little bit more fruity. But Sun and Roses by Salvador Dali is like the quintessential cheap kind of like detergent, raspberry laundry detergent type of smell. There's almost like nothing that I even want to smell in there. It's just super synthetic, super cheap. This is not a perfume, this is an odorant at best. The perfumer who made it, Dorothy Piet, I'm looking at my notes, she actually has some absolute bestsellers in her portfolio, notably Mugler Angel Sucré and Amouage Memoir Woman. So I don't know, maybe if you like Mugler Angel, maybe actually that could be wearable for you. But I don't know, like, do you think, question to you guys, do you think it's a functional strategy to go by the nose, by the perfumer? So like if so-and-so made, let's say in this case, Mugler Angel Sucré, that I probably will like Sun and Roses by Salvador Dali. Have you tried that strategy? Did it work for you? Because I find that probably with some perfumers too, especially maybe at the beginning, at the early arc of their career, it could work because people are trying to find themselves, and maybe there's like that second quarter of a perfumer career when they get into some kind of theme, and then you can very reliably hop with them from brand to brand to find something that worked for you there and works for you in the next release that they worked on. But some perfumes become so big, like to me, like the most prominent example would be Francis Kurkdjian, that at this point, I don't know what he makes. It seems like it's a factory name, like there's a factory of perfumers who work under him and can make anything. I can undoubtedly say that like his name usually means the seal of approval, right? The sign of quality. But I no longer can tell what kind of perfume I should expect if it has his name on it. While with certain other perfumers, well, actually notably Bertrand Duchefort, Jean-Claude and Lena, even though they are very prolific and they've made a wide variety of scents, no doubt, I do have this kind of sense that if I like this by them and like they made some other perfume for other brand, and let's say a few notes overlap that I'm particularly have like high affinity towards, then it will work for me. That strategy works for me, but just the name of the perfumer itself, I'm not so sure. I'm kind of curious like if you use that as a navigating signal. So yeah, Sun and Roses to me is just, oh, shameful. Shouldn't be in this lineup at all, to be honest, because there's some like really amazing fragrances that I already showed you and that I'm about to show you that just don't deserve that kind of neighborhood. Anyway, that's just my not so humble opinion, but we're gonna continue. Let me share a very difficult perfume for me, even though it's very beast mode like if you like perfumes with strong projection, with very long-lasting trail, Dali Mix Black by Salvador Dali not only has the signature, right, because like this packaging is kind of lame, like it's not really worth talking about much. There's not really not much to write home about. These guys, right, these guys that I showed you, Laguna, and these two we're going to talk about just in a minute, that's something that is truly kind of like showcase worthy, and considering how cheap they are, at least they used to be until they disappeared, it seems like it's a well worth investment. So Dali Mix Black, I don't know why I'm spraying it now, the whole room is gonna stink of it. This is a very poisonous, herbaceous, bitter green scent. It's like a shipper that doesn't have a single top note. Everything here goes toward the base. This is like an absinthe drink. It's in a way it's magic herbaceous poison, and for the longest time I couldn't even open the metallic box in which it comes from, because it would just stink the room immediately, and I couldn't even see how on earth I would wear it. I'm not, as some of you know, I have plenty of fougères and shippers, especially recently. I expanded my collection probably 5-fold. So I'm not the kind of girl who shies away from herbaceous or bitter or poisonous greens. But this, man, this like, imagine resins, like all the dark, oily, resinous notes. And there's like nothing to elevate them, and you add more green, more bitter, more potent to it, and it just becomes something that it's just like a magical concoction of evil. It's like Disney villain type of a perfume. I couldn't find the name of the perfumer who made it for some reason. If any of you guys know, please let me know. Dali Mix Black, because this is certainly a masterpiece, at least because it's very recognizable. But would I wear it? I definitely would say in the modern marketing scheme it would be marketed toward men. I don't think it's that masculine, because it does have resinous, somewhat ambery depth at the base that softens it a bit, a little, kind of like at the dry down. But it's definitely not good. The antithesis of girly. It's like the opposite spectrum. This is Maleficent. Yeah, this is the perfume that Maleficent would wear. Very memorable, very unique, very bright, potent, and kind of grabbing scent. But you should love fougères and shippers and green scents in general in order to give it a go. And this is actually not the last in the main line too. This one, which is very hard to get, and I'm actually currently put it out for sale, because as much as I feel blessed to have it, it's just not something I wear. So I thought, like, it's just a waste of perfume for me to keep hoarding it and not letting somebody use it who loves that kind of stuff. So this is Salvador Dali. This is one of the first ones that they had. Just a note, it's very confusing on Fragrantica to find exactly this. I don't think there is a listing for this particular one. They have Salvador Dali Eau de Parfum, they have Parfum de Toilette, they have Eau de Toilette, they have Pure Parfum, and I still don't know to which particular pyramid does it really fall into, because I know what the pure perfume looks like. This is not this bottle. This bottle says that this is Salvador Dali Perfume de Toilette, made in France. Yeah, Perfume de Toilette, and that's it. It's 30 ml. I barely used it. What makes it so signature that it's a powerhouse from the 80s, but it's done in the animalic, sensual, civet kind of style that Arabic perfumes sometimes go there. So it's beautifully deep, sensuous, resinous, almost kind of like ambery, musky aldehydes. In a way, goes toward Chanel No. 5. If I had to bring something remotely similar, I wouldn't call them similar, to be honest. I find that this is more animalic. This is a little bit more niche in the way that it opens, but this is something I just don't wear. Like, I appreciate the history and the depth and the animalic eroticism in it, but I can't pull it off on my skin. So I finally decided to pull the plug and like list it online. It's very hard to find those. So if you're curious, I do have it. I only have one bottle. If you're into vintage perfumes, if you're into Chanel No. 5s, if you're into resinous aldehydes that are very luscious, I think you will love it. Otherwise, I'm not sure it's worth the investment at this point, because they're very rare. Let's make a quick stop, like a coffee break here. It turns out I have too much to say when it comes to Salvador Dali perfumes, and I really want to give it sort of its due when it comes to recommendations, the things I like, things I don't like. And as we are at this a little bit of a stop, a little bit of intermission, I would love to hear from you. What do you think about this brand? Have you heard about it? Have any of your friends ever worn it? Was it ever popular? And what do you think in general about kind of the artists that transcend their original medium? The, you know, artists that start making perfumes, fashion designers that make perfumes, makeup artists that make perfumes, and all these kind of like cross-medium, cross-format kind of proliferations of brands. I know this is nothing new on the face of earth, but I find that the Salvador Dali is somewhat a unique space. I honestly don't know many visual artists that done that. Do you? If you do know of any examples like that, please let me know. I'm very curious to explore that space and see like how does it really work, and for whom it worked well, for whom it didn't. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be seeing you in the next installation and the next part of the Salvador Dali Perfumes overview. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. I'll see you in the next video.